All right. Welcome to the 27th episode of the Bloomers podcast. Today we have another guest episode, and we have the man here. If you'd like to introduce yourself, Mister.
Oh, thank you so much, man. Thank you for having me on here.
Thanks for
So
coming.
I'm Hasan. I actually know Amr through, I guess, a mutual friend that I made during my time at university. I go to U of T. I'm a business major, so don't hate on me in the comments. But yeah, I've been watching Amr for a minute over, I found him in summer actually. Started watching some of his stuff and I really resonated with it. So super excited to be here. Can I share what I have on my mind, hear what's on his mind? And yeah.
Yeah. So, Hassan and I have never met in person, which is kind of like the beauty of the internet here. But, my best friend Mikhail, love you, bro. I know you're watching. Um, he's gonna be living with Hassan in like what is it, the fall, right? Fall semester. You
I
guys are
mean, the
moving
whole
in.
year, pretty much the whole year. Yeah, we moved
Oh,
in this
sorry, whole
fall,
year.
in August. Yeah. So,
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, they met because they go to university together, and then if Mikhail's friends with someone, I probably like them. So like that's how it works. We're basically the
uh,
same person in like two different bodies. Okay, but anyways, yeah,
no,
Hassan's
I
gonna.
noticed that as well. I noticed that
Huh?
as well. Like, over the summer when I got to live with Mikhail and stuff,
Yeah,
he's a very like calm dude, and in the AM at least, deep in the AM, we end up talking about some pretty deep conversations. It's like I'm
yeah.
I'm sensing the vibe, and I'm like, okay, it makes sense why these two guys got along super well.
Yeah. Okay, dude, that's sick. So yeah, basically like we basically have all like almost the exact same like interests and everything. And for anyone who doesn't know Mikhail, you can see his guest episode. Um, it's called Best Friend. That's the title. But anyways, Hassan, yeah, he's been a big fan for a while, which is awesome. And like that's what I'm like looking for, to have like someone who's like, I guess, passionate about things, about like
Hmm.
talking and like being deep and all that. So I
Yeah.
guess that's how we met. Met not legit, but whatever.
That's yet to
Um,
happen. It'll happen soon though.
yeah, yeah, we are going to meet up because that we just have to.
Of
But
course.
um, I guess like we have no direction here. We're just having a conversation. So like, you got anything to talk about or what?
Yeah, I actually wanted to kind of like go back to the episode that
Oh,
where you
really?
spoke about like um I guess femininity in general and like
Mm-hmm.
the kind of the toxic masculinity aspect as well, like just general about that and link it to Pakistan a little bit
Oh, yeah.
because something that was on my mind recently was um like I came to Dubai, right? I didn't even say that. Wow. Okay, so I grew up most of my life in Dubai. So, all the uncles and aunties in my life that I know are all here. And I feel like being from Pakistan, like one thing I struggled with a lot as a kid, and I think even still now, was just the type of conversations people would bring up. Like the first thing people would say when they meet you after you go to university is like, wow, like you gained a lot of weight. Or like things like that.
Dude,
It's
yeah.
ridiculous. Like I've been trying to find like I have this one friend of mine that I do talk to this stuff about, but like it's just one person, and I want to get someone else's opinions about it as well, and if they face it, because I feel like you've grown up in. I assume you've grown up in Canada most of your life, right? So
Whole
is
life,
that
yeah.
still is that still prevalent there? Like that culture all the way from the east? Does that go all the way to the west too?
Dude, like yeah, because I have literally witnessed exactly what you're talking about. Like the first thing someone says to you is, "Wow, yeah, you look fatter. You look heavier." Like yeah, that dude, that literally carries over, and it's so bad. Like we have a really toxic like society we're from, which is like
Hmm.
it's kind of, I don't know, it's not, I'm not a fan of it. Like I love my culture, but I just don't like the society.
Exactly. I think like there's a lot of things to like about Pakistan. there's so many different elements about it that make me proud to be a Pakistani. At the end of the day, I was born in Karachi. Did not do a proper intro at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think, yeah, I was born in Pakistan. So like there's a lot to be proud of, even though I haven't lived there a lot. But
Hmm.
there's some things that just bother me so much. Like literally just a couple days ago, met up with this like, uncle friend of ours. And the first thing he said was like, "How many kilos did you gain?" And I'm like, "Wow, we haven't met in like, I don't know, like a year." And that's the first thing you say to me.
What the hell?
And it's weird, right? Because it's justified because of the intent. It's like, oh, like if I'll go to someone about it and if I'll be like, "Hey, I'm like hurt by this," they'll just be like, "Yeah, but I know it hurt, but what he's saying has something behind it, right? He cares for you. It's justified by the intent, not the effect of it." And I'm like,
Yeah, okay.
that just bothers me so much how like everything just is justified because they have that, oh, they're older than you. Oh, like he's an uncle. Oh, like dad's known him for so long, or something. It pisses me off to another level because it's like it's still wrong. It's absolutely wrong. You can't just like, comment that and like it's out in the public as well. It's not like they take you to the side and be like, "Hey man, you should work out a bit more," or something. It's just like straight up like in front of everyone.
Yeah,
"Oh,
yeah,
you
yeah.
look like you've gained weight." I'm like, "Bruh, come on."
Dude, that is something that like is such a problem. I guess it's like you said, yeah, they think it's about the intention and like not like it's about the intention, not the effect, which is like the reverse way you should be doing things. Like you should just
Mhm.
make sure you have a positive effect on people, especially because like I feel like this is something I talked about like really briefly in one of my videos is that in Western society we have this tendency to I like okay, they don't have the same social norms that we do. So they will say out of pocket stuff and like they'll just view it
Mhm.
as completely okay. And that's not always the best thing to do. Like that's just straight up rude, you know? So like I don't know, there's like a ton of different like problems, bro. Like
Bro,
everything socially
there's
basically. So
way too many problems, man.
yeah.
Again, I'm sure they're more heightened when you actually go to Pakistan itself. Like just their opinion and notion of just like women as well, and like, what they should do, what they should make out of their life would bother me so much because like I feel like when you grow up and you have a daughter, you'd never like, if you were to have a daughter, you never want them to be in that type of society or be associated with people that are just going to, basically know what she's going to do, which is the typical get married at a young age, you know, do whatever.
Yeah.
It just, yeah, there's just so many things that are wrong with it. It's like some things are also a bit unjustified in that sense. It's like if you have like a typical family in Pakistan, like if they have, two kids, one's a daughter, one's a son, they're more likely to send the son abroad for university or something.
Yeah.
And that would just be so that would just make me question a lot of things, right? Like I feel like in a world that's just very progressive, it's weird to see Pakistan still so behind, which yeah, it was just something I was kind of thinking about. What do
Hmm.
you think is a huge problem in terms of cultural differences, you know, having lived in Canada for so long?
It's definitely how women are treated. Like, because that's like one of the that is probably the biggest issue in the world that like bothers me more than more than anything. Like I hate because I'm like really close with my mom and sister, like really, really close. So like anything that affects them automatically affects me. Anything that they really care about, I usually really care about. And I want to like because it's like you said, if you have a daughter, you don't want them to grow up in like any or like be associated in any place where like they don't have the same opportunities as a man and like they're not
Hmm.
seen as equal because like and it's strictly a cultural thing. It's not religious. It's not like a yeah, it's not religious. It's just like straight up culture. For some reason, women are like not in all places because there are some amazing like men that I've met. But like I literally went in May to Pakistan. I met some amazing men who were like so respectful and just absolutely amazing with women. But
Hmm.
there are a lot of bad apples. Like I'm talking more than half of the people. And it's just like, I don't know. It's definitely
Dude,
the women thing for me.
I think it really hits you when you kind of look back at some of your own friendships. And sometimes it even goes beyond culture, right? Like,
Hmm.
sometimes like, if you have female friends or whatever, and you speak to them, sometimes like they will open up and be like, wow, like, you're actually nice. Like, and it's just like, wait, I'm like doing the bare minimum. This is like literally just normal humane stuff. Do you
Yeah,
get that?
yeah,
What,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm just straight up shocked. I'm like, this is normal. Like, what's wrong? Like, and they're like, no, like, I feel like the whole all men are trash thing that even comes from somewhere. And it's just so bad. Like, yeah, you do the bare minimum and you get appreciated for it. I'm just like, no, the standards are too low, too low.
That that's so true, bro. Like literally, yeah. They're like I know this probably sounds ironic, especially if a girl's watching. They'll just be like, "Oh, these guys are just, I don't know, bad guys, just trying to talk like as if they're good." But like, there are a ton of douchebags out there, bro. Like straight up
bruh.
bad bad men who will just like demean women and like just completely be like rude. Which I don't know. If you're friends with Mikhail, like that's my best friend, right? Me, you, him, we're probably all really similar. I just don't know you like as well as I should.
Yeah.
But like we're we're part of that group, that one group of men who are just like normal and like really like forward thinking and not like stupid.
Hmm.
So I've known Mikhail has gotten that exact same comment as well. So literally like I don't know. I hate to sound like I'm putting us in some special place, but like that is us. We're the
We're them.
20%. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we're them. No, for sure, man. I think it's great to find friends that I think you should just be picky with your friends, honestly. This is another thing I wanted to talk about was just
Hmm.
I feel like without my friends, like your parents raise you because they have to. The family you have, the one you're born with, like that's not a choice, right? But friends are quite literally the family you choose. And one of the hardest things about just university in general for me was like that first semester. Um,
Yeah.
Back in Dubai, I had such a great group of friends that I was so close with. We were stuck together for all 4 years of high school. And then going to Canada, like you have this expectation that you'll find like, people like that there. You'll have your little group, but then you don't have it because everyone's a bit different. Um, but I think you should. It's so important to be patient and find friends that are good for you. That'll help you grow. Like I've taken a lot from Mikhail, and I'm living with like three other people too, right?
Yeah.
That Mikhail is friends with from his first year residence. And I've learned so much from that. I feel like your friends genuinely shape you, and it's so important that you take a step back and be like, you know you appreciate them and you make sure that they're right, they're holding a good place in your life because friends
Yeah.
also change, right? Sometimes your friends do become very different and you've got to understand like, do I confront them? What do I do? um because they affect you and influence you without you even knowing. I've picked up on so much of slang that my friends say
Really?
without even knowing, right? Like,
Yeah.
um, so yeah, like I'm sure for you, knowing Mikhail for so long, he's definitely shaped who you are in some way.
Yeah, very much. Like we're because we like grew up together. That's how we have like the same interests about basically everything. But I want so you said yeah, you what I talked to about with Mikhail a lot is like he always told me that like his family, his friends are basically his family because like you guys are literally living together, right? That's basically what families always do. But what I wanted to touch on that, like living in Dubai for 13 years, I think you told me earlier, right?
Yep, yep,
Yeah,
yep. 13
that is
years.
insane. And then like just straight up moving across the world because I don't think you knew anyone here, right? Probably not, right? Or like maybe a couple
Actually,
people.
did know a couple people at least because I lived in Mississauga, so I knew
Mm-hmm.
people within that area, and then whoever I knew there that moved out eventually.
Oh.
Because we immigrated here a while back. But when it came to Toronto, it still felt super new, even though we were relatively close to Mississauga.
Mm-hmm.
It just felt like a new part of town, especially when you're in this concrete jungle. Everyone's, living a very fast-paced type of
Concrete
life.
jungle. So,
It's
okay,
not it's not New York, but yeah.
dude. Okay, so what do you feel like was like the biggest like thing you learned or like thing that you grew from with that transition from Dubai to get to Toronto?
That's a really good question. Um, I think Okay. I think the biggest thing you grow from when you live fully independently with no one really around you is you start realizing that like you are now finally in control of literally everything in your life. Um, no one can say or do anything that will affect your actions.
Mm-hmm.
You just become this person that, and it's a feeling you're not used to if you've grown up your whole life living, with your family, because often like a lot of what your parents say will dictate what you do in a day, right? If they tell you like go get groceries for me, what are you gonna do? Not get groceries? You're gonna get groceries for them. Like
Yeah,
you're gonna
yeah,
run errands for them. Wash the dishes. You're gonna wash the dishes. Come back home by this time. You're gonna come back home by this time, or you're gonna get beat up, right? Like literally. Like
yeah,
it's not like physically or anything, but like you're gonna get scolded or whatever if you don't come back home at
yeah,
the time that they suggest. So when you move to like this place that you don't know anyone and there's no one around you, like you literally have control over everything. You've got to do your laundry, you've got to cook, you've got to make sure your school's, your grades are doing good because your parents are paying the money for it, at least in my case.
yeah.
Um, so I think you're just a lot more in control, and that's a hard feeling to get used to because you've never had so much, you know,
Freedom.
things. Yeah, you never had so much freedom. You never have that much time in your hands, and decisions that you can make that your parents don't have to make for you. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's where a lot of like rebellion kind of comes from. I don't think I've rebelled that much. I think I've been a pretty innocent kid so far in
Yeah.
university.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of doing my thing, kind of living life. But I think kids that end up having very restrictive parents where everything they do in a day is determined by their parents and like majority of that, they
Yeah.
end up coming to university and they're not used to it at all. And then they end up just fully kind of going off the rails. And end up doing things to themselves, which they later on regret in life. And it's unfortunate.
Dude, you were spitting. But
Bro, I'm on some, bro. It's the early morning, bro.
yeah, yeah. No, no, no. That's good. This is what it's all about. But I wanted to ask you about, so you're talking about getting that freedom and getting that independence and like no one can tell you what to do. So do you feel like that like trickled down, I guess, from like the outside in, like to the point where your like mind and your thoughts are like you're like fully in control, or like I don't know. Weird
Um,
question, but I just want to see what you think.
wait, what do you mean by like outside in? Is it just like, yeah, what do you mean by outside in?
Like, so you're saying like, oh, you have the freedom to no one can tell you what to do, and like you're just in full control of your life. But like, you mean that in like a physical way, right? Like mostly, because like you don't have your parents
Oh
to tell you
yeah.
what to do. So do you feel like that like, you know,
Hmm.
came to
Yeah, yeah,
your mind and
yeah.
whatnot, or
Exactly.
what?
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. I think it's something you don't really realize until you get there, and then you start
Mm-hmm.
realizing how many things you take for granted. Like literally at home, we eat the most like broke college food in the world. Like we're just like surviving off like yogurt and eggs because that's like the only thing you can make, or like cereal and like tea and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Um, but that's the thing. Like when you're at home, like you come back and like mom's heated up food. There's food on the table. You don't have to worry about food. It's your time to eat. But now when you come back from school, that's a whole other like effort, that your mind has to kind of get to, is like, I gotta go to the kitchen, I gotta take something out, I gotta defrost it, make it like it's a whole mental journey that takes a lot of, I guess, muscle memory to get used to. You have to be able to be in a space where like you're able to think about so many things at once. Because when I was living with your parents means you're literally thinking about just a couple things, right? You're thinking about your school and everything that's associated with it. And you're thinking about your regular family stuff that goes on at home and your friends. But now, like, for you actually have to start caring about yourself because no one's caring for you anymore. You've got to think about
Mm,
when you're eating. You got to think about if you're working out, keeping yourself healthy, just a bunch of things, right? It's not even like university does anything for you. Like within school, like maybe they'll be like, hey, join a sport or something, or like do this. You should have this extracurricular. It'll be good for you. Now it's just like, here's the stuff. You do it if you want, you know?
yeah, dude, that's dope. Because hearing it from someone who's like, because you're someone who's experienced that like getting away from your family and like living independently, and like me, who's someone who's spent their entire lives just like living with their family, I can't relate. So it's like it's interesting to get this perspective from you, which is awesome. Um,
hmm What about
I
you? Like, did you end up like what do you feel like has been easy about that transition to university? Do you was it a personal choice to kind of stay close to family? Was there any part of you that maybe wanted independence in some way?
So I think yeah, it was a personal choice to like stay here and like stay in Calgary with my family just because like I didn't feel like I was ready because I don't think you can ever be ready, but I just feel like that was too big of a step for me at like a time where I didn't really know I could do that. Um and wait, what was the second part? I forgot, sorry.
I was gonna ask if there was any like element of I guess FOMO or just in general like you wanting to live independently or I guess you kind of answered it in the sense that you're not ready for it now, so maybe like later on,
Mm-hmm.
but you do want the independence at some point.
Yeah. Because like yeah, there was no FOMO. Uh, but yeah, I think like eventually I'd want that just because it's like, adulthood, right? Like you guys are getting there early, but I'm still like behind on that. But I think it's dope because it's like you guys are getting that like you're maturing at a faster rate, I guess. And it's like I don't know, I can hear it in you that you are, which is cool. Um,
Yeah, I think it you see it a lot when you come back and visit because like your mom will tell you something to do or your dad will be like, hey, do this. Like he'll tell you to do something like some legal work or like just some document work. And if I'm in Canada, I can do that whenever I want, right? Because I can leverage the time difference. There's so many, I'm like in control of I have a designated spot for it. But now that I'm here, it's like they want everything done on their time. And I have to like adjust my mind back to like high school mode and be like, now when they say something, I have to do it.
yeah,
I don't have that freedom anymore. And it's an interesting dynamic shift, honestly. But it's one that you really grow from and like you don't realize you're growing up until you come back and it hits you that oh like mom just made dal chawal. It was so good, which is like if any non-brown people are watching, it's like basically lentils and rice, which
and it's
sounds
so
pretty gross,
fire.
but like it's so heat,
Yeah,
literally.
yeah.
Um, yeah, like you start appreciating so many more things for granted, and you realize like, wow, like this is really where my heart is. But my mind is just in Toronto, like you're the two different parts of yourself are in different
Mm-hmm.
places. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on independence, at least.
2 cents. Oh my god. Yeah,
A lot
no.
more than two
That's
cents.
awesome. Um,
But
okay. I'm gonna switch a little topic here. So you said you and Mikhail talk about like deep stuff late at night, which me and Mikhail have done as well. So I'm sensing a common thing here in our intangibles, which is being like being deep and being like emotional in the AM. So how
Mhm.
do you what do you think about like men showing their emotions? That's something that I'm like really big on this
Mm.
channel. What do you think about that?
Dude, I cannot stress enough like how much men should start, expressing emotions and what would they bottle up. It's such an important topic, and I feel like people need to understand that bottling your emotions and keeping like just a cold stare or like a fake smile on like that like in a way that is strength, but you're only setting yourself up to be broken later on, you know. I feel like people should know that talking always helps.
Yeah.
Always helps. I know like one of the reasons Mikhail and I connected was that we were both super like we were just very like transparent in the sense that um there wasn't any like backing out at this stage. It's like you're living with this guy for the next few years. So you might as well just get close at this point, you know.
Yeah.
So I think like just at the stage of like opening up, and kind of speaking your mind is so important. I feel like people find like pride in not sharing their emotions. Like people find strength in not doing that. People are like, "Oh yeah, I didn't cry in that movie," and I'm just like, "Cool, man. You want a medal?" Like, so like it's like I damn well knew you were holding it in though. Like literally, I knew you
Yeah,
were
yeah.
holding it in. It's small things like that. I'm not saying that's a pretty shallow kind of answer, but yeah, there's like
Not at all,
problems in
bro.
their life, and people have a lot of problems in their life, and they're just like, oh yeah, like you know, who shares stuff? Like you do that, damn. Like I don't know, it shouldn't be a surprise, honestly. I think that people should make it normal to at least men should make it normal to share.
Hmm. So like living with men in your own house, as I mean as in Toronto, right? Do you feel like,
Mm,
and you guys lived in the summer with each other. Did you guys did express that with each other, right? And you guys were like free and
yeah,
transparent. Yeah, yeah.
100%. I think initially things are a bit more surface level, and you just talk about whatever's going on in your life at the moment on a very
Mm-hmm.
surface level scale, like what's happening in terms of your university, your career, you know, what you're up to. But eventually, like you do reach a stage, especially when you're living with someone that it has to go deeper than that. Like otherwise, like you know, you're gonna be living with roommates that you just never see come out of their room, um, or that you have no bond with. Like
Yeah.
it's weird, right? Even though I've known my roommates for so little, we're still in touch throughout summer. Like we'll still send each other like a meme or something, or like we'll if we see something that reminds us of the other person, we'll still text them.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful that I found such a great group of people to stay with and you know call a family.
That's
It's
so
been
good, bro.
a true blessing because I feel like people go through university, especially U of T more so than others, because U of T is known to be more of a calmer and quieter society,
Mm-hmm.
where finding people that really click with you is a bit tough because everyone's just you know a bit calmer. Um, so I've been super lucky and blessed in that regard.
Dude, I am very happy that that you feel that way because literally like, yeah, I would kill to be part of that part of your guys' group.
Dude, you should live with us, bro. We're getting a couch. Like we'll make sure to one of those couches that like turn into a bed. Like
Yeah, pull
just
out
crash
couch.
over,
Yeah, yeah,
bro.
yeah. Oh my God. Dude, eventually. Um, okay, I wanna go back to the whole like expressing yourself thing, right, with like other people. But
Mhm.
this is something that I like asking people just because it's interesting to get a different response every time. What is like your activity, if there is one, or like something you do to like wind down, get your mind off things, kind of like fall into like this like void where you're just like losing track of time and you're just enjoying yourself? What are those
Mhm.
activities for you? What do you like to
Okay.
do?
So like when life is getting too much.
Yeah, yeah, and then you do that activity and like life is just feeling good, you know?
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like watching, you know, it's like watching a YouTube video that's going way too fast or something, you know. You have to pause and just kind of find where the slow button is. For me, that's more of a mental thing in the sense that like if I feel like I'm having way too much and I feel like I'm about to, you know, about to mentally like, you know, implode or something,
Mm-hmm.
um, I just kind of stop doing everything. And if someone's trying to reach me or something, um, you kind of have to like distance yourself a little bit and just reflecting. I think talking helps a lot. I don't know if that was maybe like if that strategy involves other people, but for me at least, the first thing I would do is obviously just kind of pause, stop doing everything, and I'll just like lie down. And then I would just kind of talk to people about it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I first reflect on it, see what I think about it, and then having roommates that are close with you and that you can confide in is huge because,
Yeah.
you know, I think my entire life, my mom has been like my best friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's been someone that I share. I'm a full mama's boy, no shame in admitting it. She is she is my hero in every way. When we were in Canada, my dad was still in Dubai,
Oh yeah.
so she basically raised me and my brother majority of the time on her own for those six
Mm-hmm.
years. And obviously we'd see my dad like, during the summer break and stuff because he had his work here. He couldn't move. But yeah, like it's you don't have mom to always reach out to now, because she's probably sleeping or like she has a bunch of other stuff to do. Um, so having people around you that you can just confide in is huge. It's absolutely huge. That's another thing actually, like when it comes to just sharing your emotions, is the whole like dynamic with your parents and how it, seeps through that. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people just feel like they can't tell their parents anything, and that's super unfortunate. That's something I genuinely
Yeah.
don't think can be changed in a moment. People are genuinely very scared to tell their parents some things, and they go through a lot at home behind closed doors.
So
Um,
true, bro. Holy crap.
so you seem like you're very close to your mother. I assume
Yeah.
you had a similar type of bond.
Yeah, same as you, bro. Like literally I can talk about my mom with talk about anything with my mom. I did it
Yeah.
in reverse, but like yeah, I don't know if that's the same for you, but like literally, yeah, what you're saying is like completely true. Like literally you need to find someone who you can just like, yeah, confide in and like you can just spill your soul with, you know? Because that I mean, talking is like and it's funny because that's literally like what I do here is just talk. And it's like,
You just talk.
yeah, and like that's what you're doing now here talking. So like it's like it's like the ultimate way to express yourself. Or
No,
like
fully agree, man.
cool.
It is the go-to. One thing I used to actually do in the past that I let go of was poetry. I used to write like a
Oh
lot of
really?
poetry. Yeah, I used to write a lot of poetry.
What type?
Um, like it was just random like poetry that I would like. I don't know. I think maybe it was because I was taking this like English course at the time, and like you know, we were doing like 15 poems and analyzing them, and I think that got me in the groove of things. And like I had another friend of mine who was also writing poetry, and we traveled together this one time, and he was like, "You should try it. You should just write your thoughts down." And I felt like writing my thoughts down itself, to me at least, was great, but it wasn't doing anything. Like it wasn't a way for me to reflect properly about it. So I knew that like I found a way to kind of piece words together. And whenever I would go through something in life later on that would remind me of an experience, I would go back to that poem and just be like, how did I think of this? You
Oh.
know, how did I, how did I tackle that issue?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that was my way of reflecting at least. And it sucks that I don't do that anymore because I just don't have the time to sit down and articulate words. I'm also not doing an English course, so my English high and like articulation skills are have definitely fallen off and are rusty. But
Yeah.
um yeah, man, I think poetry or just writing it down in some way was so helpful because you can always look back at it. You can be like, those are my words. I wrote that.
Yeah, it
And
doesn't go
I've been through
away.
this before. Yeah, like I've been through this before. I know I can do it. I can handle it. So
Mm-hmm. That's dope, bro. So like is there any other like is it was that your main like I guess like physical activity you did to like for like personal therapy or like was because I know you said talking then you said writing poetry which is like super creative, bro. That's awesome.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is there anything
So I
else?
think that was literally therapy, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I think one other part of it was, yeah, it was weird looking back at it. It's like I don't do this stuff anymore. Like I don't even know what I do now. But I guess talking about what I did was more interesting. Another thing was like if I couldn't think of anything, if life got too much, I would just change into my basketball shorts and go to the court and just like
Oh.
brick every three ever. But like, put music on, and just ball out fully. Just
Yeah.
just play. If someone's playing there, I'd be like, yo, let's run a 1v1. I'd get
Mhm.
crushed by them, but it's fine because I tried. Like, it's just like it's things you
Yeah,
would do to like you have to channel the mental clutter and the energy that you're trying to let go of in something else. I think that's a very effective. I
dude.
think on a general and holistic level, that's how you do it, right? You've got this
Yeah,
mental stress, this energy that you want to let go of, and it's inside you. So it's just like transfer. You've got to find a way to channel it into something that's going to kind of alleviate the stress off you and make things a bit more manageable.
bro. Okay, I'm gonna clip that and I'm gonna post that as like one of my TikToks, bro. That was so fire. I love that. Oh my god. Dude, you're the co-host now. No, I'm kidding. Dude, that
No,
was
man, like,
Hasan, that was so fire, bro. Wow.
oh, thank you, bro. It means a lot coming from you.
Yeah, no. You literally, I'm like, no homo, in love with you, bro. Like,
Bro, dude, I was in love with you before I even came on this call, like literally.
oh my god, dude, we are highly sus right now. We'll save this
I'm a
for
fan.
after.
I'm a fanboy. Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
god.
No, man,
That's so
that's the
facts.
move, bro. Yeah, I'm glad you kind of resonate with that. What are
Bro,
your
because that's like
Oh,
that's
sorry, go on.
exactly what I read. No, I'm just saying like that's like exactly what I think. So like hearing you say it is just like, bro, this person knows what I'm thinking. Okay. Yeah, you were saying something.
Yeah, I've noticed we've talked a lot about our relationship with our mom, with our mothers, but like I think it's interesting to see if it's the same with dad. Like how is I noticed I think
Yeah.
probably like is dad watching this, bro? Like nah, dad doesn't watch this stuff.
Yeah, yeah, dude, you're literally right. Um, I don't know. I'm not as close as I am with my dad as I am with my mom. Like I am like on another level with my mom because my dad's more of like a low-key chill guy. My mom's more of like an outgoing talk to me about everything type of person, you know?
Mhm.
Which is okay, and I love them both for that, and I've learned so much from them, and just like how I can be better learning from both of them and like their roles in my life. So yeah, I feel like that's kind of just like a brown dad thing, and that was kind of like their generation. It was kind of the whole like men be quiet, men don't cry, men don't express themselves, which is like something
Exactly.
me and you are against. But I don't know how is it for you?
Yeah, it's exactly the same, man. It's exactly the same. I think I've been I've been raised in a way to always look at myself in a very critical light, and that mainly comes from my dad. And it might sound like a terrible thing to say, but it's probably one of the best things ever. I would always be so annoyed by my dad in the sense that there was always like this weird kind of if I came back home with like a 98 on something like my mom would be like, "Oh my God, amazing. You did so good. Like give me a hug." My dad would be like, "Where the 2% go?" You know. Um, and then
Yeah.
I did confront them about this. I'm like, "Why are you so critical? Why can't you just appreciate, why can't you just appreciate something?" Um, and there are times that he appreciates. He's not a terrible human being. He does appreciate a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
But he told me he was like, Hassan, you have a lot of people in your life that will make you feel happy, like that'll make you feel good. And he was like, if you want praise, you want to be, just you want an esteem boost or an ego boost or whatever, you go to your mom for that. But he was like, when it comes to like your growth, and he was like, when it comes to how you're going to improve, a lot of people won't tell you how to do that. He was like, that's where I come in. And he was like, yeah, you might not like some of the things I say, but when you grow old, classic, you know, when you grow older, you'll know kind of line.
Oh my god, dude. Yeah.
It does work for the most part, like especially at university. A lot of things my dad said to keep in mind that I was just like, um, they genuinely have worked, being responsible. A lot of different things. I think your dad, like my dad, at least the place he's had in my life is always just looking at things critically, um, making sure that you're really striving for perfection,
Hmm.
which is a state you'll never achieve, so you'll always be chasing after it.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
No, yeah, yeah, that's good because like yeah, mom, I guess yeah. that is, it's generally good because your dad, I guess your dad like keeps you in check, and your mom is just like I'm not saying it's not your dad, but like your mom's just unconditional love. I feel like that's with most moms, just unconditional love whatsoever, like no matter what. Dads, I feel like it's not conditional, it's also unconditional, but yeah, they're more to their sons, especially. They're more like, yeah, they're more critical than to their daughters. Do you have a sister?
Hmm. I don't. I have a brother. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was just no, because me and Mikhail have sisters, and it's just like, yeah, I
Oh
understand
yeah,
the
yeah,
dynamic, the sibling dynamic.
yeah.
It's a bit
Yeah,
different.
man. Yeah, it's weird how I've grown closer with my brother as well. I feel like we got a lot closer after we, you know, physically were distant. Um,
Mm-hmm.
being in Canada for 6 years without, your dad in the house and being around, um, often meant that you were kind of like the father figure at the house. And so there
Yeah.
was the kind of bond I share with my brother is he would really respect me. And I respect him a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really like there's a line of respect there. Um, but I think now that line of respect comes with friendship too, now that we've, been so distant. And when I come back, it's so much for me to look forward to. Like, do you think you've always been very close with your sister? Um, do you fight a
Like,
lot?
yeah, we fight, like, it was like, it's like kind of a lot, kind of not now, but fighting is good, fighting is like necessary in like any relationship where you're like constantly with someone, and it's like you
Mhm.
bet you understand the other person better. So yeah, is that same for you, like with your brother?
Yeah, I don't know. It's often an interesting conversation to have with people and hear about their relationship with their siblings because me and my brother literally never fight, and it's weird. We just never have any problems with each other. And I think it comes down to that whole respect factor, right? Is because like
Mm-hmm.
you would never pick a fight with your dad, so like my brother is very unlikely to pick a fight with me, because he's always seen me in a very like father figure type of light.
Oh yeah.
So it's odd. He's younger than me, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Yeah, it's definitely interesting. We have had fights obviously when we were younger, but I think now we've just reached a state of like there's no fights at all, and it's weird because like you'd think it's necessary for a relationship to grow, but I think it's great that it's growing you know, without a fight inducing it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think a bit of conflict is important. And it's weird how there's so much like so little conflict now with my family going to university is because, when you're home, your mom will always find something to complain about. You didn't wash the dishes properly, or like you didn't do this properly, you didn't do that properly.
Yeah.
Make your bed in the morning or like whatever. And so now it's just like you don't hear all of that. It's very positive. When I come back, I'm treated like royalty. It's like we haven't seen Hasan in so long. Oh my God. Like feed him everything. Like you treated like royalty. So
Mm-hmm.
um
And I also
yeah.
feel like that's like, I'm literally tying Mikhail back into this so much, but like whenever we both of us meet, it's like we really hold those moments like together and like close to our hearts, because like we haven't seen each other for so long. So I think it's kind of like the same thing, right? Because like you haven't seen your family for a while, so it's like
Exactly.
the time just means like so much more, you
Hmm.
know?
No, I
Yeah.
fully agree, man. What are your like have you ever had moments with your close friends where you've had to have some difficult conversations? Like, do you think conflict within a setting of friendship is also important for growth? Um, and like an element of confrontation? Or do you feel like things have always been very smooth?
Things have like with my like closest friends, it's always been like really smooth. We don't really like, because we're really good at like compromising, but not to the extent where like someone gets hurt over it. It's always like
Mm,
just
okay.
sacrificing and stuff. So there's never really been like any like conflict, because everyone's like super flexible. Um, I don't know. We're not like big on like our emotional relationships with each other, because I feel like, I don't know, it's different when like for you when you're living with your friends, that's like you need to be like emotionally in it. But I feel like when you're just like all your friends are in the same city and you just hang out, like every like week, like 3 times, it's like different, you know?
Hmm. Yeah,
So
I
yeah.
totally agree. I feel like I was able to share a lot about my personal life with the people I've lived with
Hmm.
than the friends that I've had for like 4 years. So like both friend groups, like the ones I made in Dubai and like the ones in Canada, they know the same things about me, but it's just
Yeah.
like the pace of it, right? Like I felt the need to share it so much quicker with my friends in Toronto and the people around me because you just kind of have to at that point. They're literally family, so it's
Yeah.
interesting to see that. But I definitely do think that like being transparent and like very kind of vulnerable with your friends is in itself very important, right? Like it comes back to the whole thing you're talking about, like men sharing emotions.
Hmm.
If you can do that with your friends, then you know there's a lot of it'll it's kind of like it just deepens your bond that much more.
Yeah.
You're really going to reach another level of closeness with them. And it's like real talk. And it only happens in the AM most of the time. So like you don't just text your friends saying like, oh my God, this just happened. Like you only talk about it at a certain time. I think like at certain points you should talk to them about it.
Yeah.
Because they're pretty much very close to you too. So
Spitting, bro. Complete. Yeah. Agree. But
oh
yeah,
my God.
any other topics you wanna touch on? You have anything else?
Yeah. But I noticed like on your Instagram you posted a lot of like motivational kind of videos.
Yeah.
Um, what are your thoughts on motivation itself as a means to kind of trigger productivity or reach a goal? And do you think it's everything that's needed? Do you think there's something more to it when it comes to achieving your goals? Um, yeah, just wanted to know your thoughts.
I think like just in general about like motivation and all that. I think it's just like I read this in this book called Atomic Habits. There's this like one quote and it's like it talks about how motivation's environment based, not like intrinsically based. So the way you set up your environment and like the activities that you engage in, like the habits that you have, will determine your productivity and your success, I guess. So like for example, one thing that I do to be more motivated is I charge my phone away from my bed. So it's like my bed's over here, and like I used to charge my phone
Mm,
right there, like right here. Then I started charging at the bottom of my bed, like so when my alarm rings in the morning, I have to actually stand up and go walk and turn it off, you know? So that literally just that, I'm telling you, made me save like an extra like 10, 15 minutes in the morning just because I would just play on my phone in my bed. So that's like a tiny example of like how environment can just change the way that you go about your day or like you do something, you know?
mm.
So there are some other ways that I can't think of on the spot right now about like, environment and motivation and stuff. But yeah, I,
That's
I love
huge, bro.
I love motivational quotes and videos.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think they're a great boost, but I think it does come down eventually to like the more passive things, right? That you don't have to act like I feel like if you watch a motivational video every day, it'll help, but only to a certain extent, right? Um,
Yeah.
I think what you're saying is so like discipline is so important. Like you've got to be in a very autonomous kind of set of decisions, like autonomous in a set of decisions,
Hmm.
for you to reach like your true potential, like if you're going to say that I'm going to put my phone away and listen to the alarm and then actually have to get up, like you're going to commit to that. Um, if the first thing you're going to like, even just like, I think it comes down to anything. Like if you say you're going to be spiritual, you're going to pray 5 times a day on time. Like that's just how it works. I think like discipline is so important. It's something that I think even in brown society and culture is ingrained so much. Like you have to be disciplined. Like you have to be disciplined. Um, but yeah, I think motivation is great though. Like I personally love motivational videos as well. I come back to them every now and then too.
Matthew McConaughey.
Um, shout out to that guy. If he's what? No, hopefully he watches one day. One day,
Oh my
that's the
god,
goal.
yeah.
That's the goal.
Dude is such a legend.
Have him on as a guest. Yeah. No, but I resonate with the speech of his so much. The Oscars one where he's like, you've got to have something to look up to, look forward to. Um, you know, it's so important. You've got to chase something that you'll never be so that you're always chasing. And
Mm-hmm.
that's honestly what keeps me going in like everything, literally.
Dude,
It's like,
that ties into what sorry to interrupt you. That ties into what your dad said. Your dad is like telling you to
yeah.
for the like perfection thing, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sick.
He's like nobody's ever gonna be perfect, but like if you strive to be perfect, you're gonna be one step ahead of like everyone. Not that life's a competition. But like, I think he just wants to get at the fact that always be chasing after something. Like don't just be comfortable with life. And he was like, if you think you can hit rock bottom and it's only way is up, like that's wrong. Like it can always go lower. Um,
Yeah.
so just make sure that you never get comfortable with life. There's always like an element of beauty in the struggle. I don't know if you listen to J. Cole.
Yeah. I had my phase, big
Yeah.
phase, but yeah, I know like
Yeah.
every
No,
song.
exactly. Yeah, like
Love yours.
I think yeah, exactly. Love yours. Exactly. That's one of my favorite songs, honestly. And
Hmm.
Beauty in the Struggle is like a huge quote. Ugliness and success, all that. That is something that I literally like I live by. If ever I'm going through something that's a bit harder in life and like there's an element of adversity to it, you have to kind of see the beauty in it and be like, I'm gonna come out of this stronger. Like what's gonna happen? Like there's
Exactly,
always
bro.
light at the end of the tunnel. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And
man.
that's what like life's about. We're not none of us are handed anything. We gotta work for it. And like it feels good.
Exactly.
Like imagine if we were just like
Mhm.
handed a bunch of money to like live life. What's the point? Like we're grinding
What's
out
the
here, you
point?
know?
Honestly, yeah. One of the really weird kind of I guess preconceived notions that people have about me is just, oh, you're from Dubai. Like you probably don't have to care about anything in life, right? Everyone
Oh
has that.
God.
It's totally fine. It's totally valid. Like Dubai's image is so like everyone. If you say you're from Dubai, it's like people will start talking to you. It's like your unfair advantage or
Special. Oh
whatever,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, it's like you'll just you become that much more interesting of a person when you say it. Like you don't have to care about anything. And like I think I've grown up with a lot of privileges. Like no shame in admitting that. Like there's a lot of privileges that I've grown up with. But
Hmm.
like I'm really grateful to have parents that have always, made sure that you have to work really hard, even if, if you did, if you fall off, like people are there, there's a net for you to be caught on. You still
Hmm.
have to work really hard. You've got to make sure, like, when you grow up and you've got to be a self-made person at the end of the day. Um, I think our parents have just gone through so much. Like, this is one thing that I spoke to with one of my roommates about, even Mikhail,
Hmm.
spoke to Josh about it, who you know since elementary, I believe, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Kindergarten.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, like this is one thing we spoke about as well, just the fact that like our parents had literally given up so much and we don't really realize like it is literally a privilege to complain, you know. If you're getting too much homework, bro, it's a privilege. People are dying for homework. Like you wouldn't believe it, but people are dying to just get a pen and paper in their hands.
Education,
Um,
yeah.
it's so you don't even yeah, you don't realize it, man. Like you're hungry once a week, like in the sense that oh, I'm so hungry. Like people are feeling like that for months and years on end. It's so important to like reflect and be like, yo, should I really be complaining about this? Like there's so many other people that are just going having it way worse. I'm not saying
Yeah.
undermine your problems, but I am saying that do think about the weight of it and how it's relative to some more pressing issues out there.
So true, bro. That's awesome. Well, okay. We're gonna wrap up here. It has been like, dude, very fire, very amazing. And I'm gonna clip that one
Amazing.
part because I'm just like
Go
like
for it,
Hasan, bro, like
dude.
blown away by it, bro. But um anything else you want to say? Any last words for the audience here?
Any final words?
Last words of motivation like we talked about
Last
too
words
much.
of motivation. Yeah, I think the main message, a lot of what we've spoken about today comes down to vulnerability. And even though the word itself means you're in a state of weakness, Um, make like being vulnerable is always a strength. I think you should have people you talk to. If you don't, seek help, find someone to talk to.
Seek help.
Um, yeah, like if you feel like you need like someone to talk to, just like if it's reached a level of like if it's really, really bad and you need help, like you should seek it. Even like whether you're a guy or girl, there should be no stigma around it. If you
Yeah.
have friends that you've known for so long, but you never opened up to them about, some of the problems you're having, maybe try it out. If you have no one in your life to share your problems with, like you'll realize how much lighter you feel mentally and emotionally by kind of just conveying it. So yeah, man, strength and vulnerability and removing the stigma around men. The more that men start sharing with each other and opening up, we're
Yes.
moving forward.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, dude. Literally. I am in full agreement and beyond. But okay,
Amazing.
that was very fun. Thank you so much for coming on, bro.
Thank you for
And
having me. Thank you
yeah,
so much.
it was a pleasure. It was really fun.
It was an
Um,
honor, bro. It was an absolute honor. Thank you so much.
oh, dude, no problem, man. Like I'm very happy to have you on because you were just like, dude, you were so excited about it. That's what I'm looking for. I need passionate, excited, fun people, and that's literally like what you are. So yeah,
Ah,
we will
they're
keep in
great.
touch, and
Yes, yes,
yeah,
yes, yes. 100%. And I expect to see you in Toronto sometime, or if not, I'll
inshallah.
just like come to Calgary.
Yeah, dude, we'll plan it. We'll plan it. But
100%.
thank you guys for watching. We're gonna end it off here. 27th episode. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.